Hi, welcome to Simple Tools with Denise. Today I'm going to show you a super fun activity that I just call Picnic. I do it with lots and lots of clients, a variety of ages, and we just have a picnic. We have a picnic with my stuffed animals and puppets and some picnic food. So what you need is a picnic blanket. You need some play food. This is optional, but if you're working on pronouns, like he and she, some ribbon to tie around some of the puppets' necks to, we do this for the girl puppets, that comes in handy. You'll need a velcro board. I've got 2 strips of velcro, so one side is for the animals and one side is for the food that they want. And then you'll need some pictures. So I've got pictures of the puppets we're going to use today. By the way, I've just spent years collecting puppets. I find them on Amazon, I find them at crafts fairs, things like that. Just every time I see a cute puppet, I grab one. And then you'll need pictures of the food. And by the way, these pictures all have Velcro on the back so that you can stick them to the menu board. This is basically a menu. This is what we're making here. I use this activity so often. This is just a really handy way to store it. So I have a Ziploc bag with all the food. I have another Ziploc bag where I keep all the animal pictures in it. It goes in this little file folder, which I used to keep in a cabinet drawer, but I found myself using this picnic activity so often. Now it just gets tossed in my box of books on top of my desk because I am pulling this all the time. Okay, so I'm going to lay this blanket out to get started. Now, normally I would use the laying the blanket out on the floor activity with a child who is having some pragmatic difficulties. It's a great pragmatic activity. So, you have to watch someone else's eyes when you're unfolding the blanket. You hold on to 2 corners on your end. They hold on to 2 corners on their end. They have to stay with you. You kind of straighten the blanket out, lay it on the ground. It's great. So don't miss that opportunity. It took me a few years to realize that the picnic blanket was a great opportunity to notice, to build that pragmatic language. So now I always make sure that I'm paying attention to how we lay the blanket out. But for this activity, because it's not great to film on the floor, I'm just going to lay the blanket out on the table, pretend that's our floor. And if you have an older child who doesn't really want to be on the floor, put the picnic blanket on the table. That works too. So I'll be back in a minute once I get this blanket spread out.
As always, show notes with links to many of the materials Denise uses are available at slpproadvisor.com/blog/picnic. You can download these animal and food cards for free today. Go to slpproadvisor.com/blog/picnic and leave us your name and email address so we can notify you of other helpful content for your therapy. Now, back to Denise.
Okay, I'm back. Now this is how I start the activity. The food, the puppets are out of sight when we started. I originally came up with this idea because I wanted kids to be more intentional. I wanted a visual organizer so that they could organize their language too. If I were to just bring the food out, bring the stuffed animals out and we started playing, they would get so involved with the toys that they wouldn't really generate language. They'd just be too involved and you couldn't pull them away from it. So this is a way to help them be intentional about their language. Now, I have a whole box of puppets and stuffed animals, so I generally choose them because if I were to bring out my whole box of puppets, they would just start going through it and this one. We'd lose the structure that we have in therapy. So I generally choose like 4 of these puppets and say, this is who is at our picnic today. But the animals don't come out yet. The real animals don't come out yet. Now we have the food pictures that come out. And I won't put them all in front of them. That's too much. I'll just pull out a few like this and kind of shove the others behind me like this, Controlling the visual clutter is a big part of this activity. So have a big bag. See, I've got this big bag. Have a big bag where you can shove stuff out of sight because too much of that visual clutter gets them disorganized. And then I'll say, well, what do you think the parrot wants? What does the parrot want to eat today? And where if you had had just the food out, they would have just grabbed something out of the basket and fed it to the parrot. And there wouldn't have been any opportunity for them to stop and think about recalling that word. What is it the parrot wants to eat? And so it's great for pointing, so they could point to the carrot. And then I help them, or I instruct them, I want them to put this picture on themselves. Not for me to do it. I want them to learn that organization. I'm going to put the picture of carrot across on the parrot because that's what he wants to eat. And so we load up the board that way. But they're choosing. They're choosing all the time. And if you get down to here, see there's no choice left for the duck, so slap another picture out there. So that, again, they can choose. Oh, the duck wants the tomato, okay? And then I kind of shove these out of the way. I'm going to bring them back, but like I said, controlling the clutter, important. So you just kind of shove those out of the way for a bit. And now the puppets can come out. Here we go. Now the food can come out. But it's not a free-for-all in the basket. I hand the food to them as they request it because it's an opportunity to say, well, who should we feed first? Who gets their food first? And then if they say, you know, the parrot, then here you go. You kind of keep the food by you. And then hand the client the parrot, and they hand the client the carrot, and they can feed the parrot. Hey, that rhymes. It's getting me mixed up. Carrot, parrot. Anyway. So you do that, and then you can have a little bit more of the spontaneous fun. You know, you pretend to be the parrot, or they pretend to be the parrot, and you feed them, and you cut it with the knife if you want. There's a cutting board in here and a knife, which comes with most of the food sets. And have all that spontaneous fun. But I always want to do it again, so pretty soon after that, I'll just say, oh, they ate all the food, and they are still hungry. What else do they want to eat? So then pull your food out again. Do the same thing, give them choices so they get lots and lots of practice. You can do this 2 or 3 rounds with them, choosing new food for the puppets. And as I mentioned earlier, here's your ribbon. So if you're working on he and she, just tie the ribbon around, you know, ask them, well, who's going to be the girl? And so there we've got a girl duck, and you can say, well, she wants a carrot, or she wants watermelon. Or give her the watermelon. And now you can also use this with WH questions. So you can have them ask the puppets as you're, as you're putting the food on here. You could have them ask the puppet, what do you want? And so you get that over and over again. What do you want? And you can take turns so that you're modeling the what do you want too. It's really great for word retrieval. They've got the pictures there to help them. And the other words don't change as much. So it's like a carrier phrase. He wants a carrot. She wants a carrot. The bunny wants a carrot. So if they're having trouble remembering, like the names of the food, that's great for word retrieval. Another way that's, another benefit to this is, especially with someone with autism, is the waiting for someone to say what they want. Because if I would ask the parrot, if we would say, what do you want? My kid with autism is always going to fill in real fast, watermelon. But we're playing this game where they're asking the parrot needs to reply, right? So here, the kid is saying, what do you want? Needs to wait for the parrot to say, I want watermelon, whatever. And it's really good because to sometimes say not what the client is expecting, because they think they know that already what you're going to say, because they don't understand what is in their head is not in your head, right? That's part of the autism issues. So if you know that they're going to say watermelon, you say peach or something different, so that I have to stop and think, oh, that wasn't what I was going to say. So help them stop and listen and wait for someone else to reply to them and not just automatically fill in the response. So that's several ways to use this picnic activity. Oh, and at the end, don't forget you have the opportunity to fold the blanket back up again, which is even a little bit more socially complicated than unfolding it. You really have to pay attention. You have to watch that person to know, are they going to fold the blanket this way? Are we going to walk towards each other and put our ends together first? So that's a great opportunity there. I hope you have fun with this picnic activity and visit us at slpproadvisor.com for more ideas. See ya!